We are the foundation, bulletproof the hating from the plantation. We built the whole nation. We are the foundation, bulletproof the hating from the plantation. We built the whole nation. We are the foundation, bulletproof the hating from the plantation. We built the whole nation. We are the foundation, bulletproof the hating from the plantation. We built the whole nation.
Who have progressives completely vilifying. Like, it's the white man, right? So if you have a white man saying the same words his ancestors, his patriotic ancestors said, it's like, well, we're fighting against this tyranny that's coming from an outside country trying to attack us in our liberty.
Your white progressive women
but then
are saying it on their, you know what I'm saying? They're standing on their behalf. They're like, give me death so these other people can get liberty. Yeah. Like, they literally saying the opposite now coming out of your white, especially these white progressive women, right? Like, I mentioned this on my show too. Anybody remember when ISIS started popping up in Syria? Mm-hmm. And all of the white women were like going to Syria to be terrorist brides?
I don't remember that.
I remember. They were going over there. Like, all of the videos of the brutality of ISIS were out in the ether. Right. Everything they had did to the Yazidis, and this is not me being like, I'm taking a side. I saw the fucking videos. You're not gonna tell me what I didn't see with my own eyes.
Right, and then they got over there and it got real, and they wanted to come back home.
And then they want to be trying to get their ass home. Right? Like, this is that same sickness. You are now, and these are the same crazies that are on the LGBT stuff. So we're questioning their morality. Right? Mm-hmm. I'm like, why are you questioning their morality? You've seen their intelligence. These are the people that tell you that men can have babies. Mm-hmm. And now you're going to be looking at them for some kind of morality on the subject matter of Hamas? Mm-hmm. Are you fucking kidding? Like, these are the people that are telling you you can use cat pronouns and shit. Are you really turning that over to them to lead that conversation?
There's a really good piece of wisdom that's been codified over the course of thousands of years of history, which is called, it's 3 words: misery loves company. And I think that 40 plus year old white libertarian or left-leaning women who don't have any kids, this will be the downfall of Western society. And I'm not just trying to kiss up to the panel right here, because I really, truly believe that.
We need y'all to be talking amongst yourselves about how y'all white progressive cousins are fucking y'all. Like, we need y'all to be having those conversations. We need y'all to be talking about it, because, like, you're running around having like this war on white people when the war on white people are being waged by other white people. So it needs to be redefined. As much as the right talks about clarity of words and clarity of cause, this is not a war on white people. This is your white progressive cousins trying to annihilate you because you are married, because you do have kids, because you are a stalwart in your community. They hate everything about you.
Misery loves company. Misery loves company. When you're upset,
they are waging a war against y'all, and they are winning.
Upset.
But they are winning. And that's why it's like, if y'all cannot properly frame your enemy keeps attacking, and y'all are defenseless against their attacks. So, like, tell me the major conservative movement that is pushing marriage. I mean, not using it as a talking point, not saying every once in a while, the stability of American is the 2-parent household, and then skipping on to something else. I'm talking about like a real strong movement on the right that's focused on marriage.
I think it's gonna take quite a while for that to come back because it's just a
No,
generational
see,
thing.
that's
I
the
don't think
thing.
it's gonna happen in the snap of fingers.
That's the thing. Nope.
It's not gonna be a 5-year thing. We're
It
gonna have
look
to go
like
through a
it
lot of
look like
pain
you got
until
your
we
wife.
actually get back to that.
Is that your wife in your picture?
No, that's my mother.
Oh, that's your mother? Well, she's pretty. Are you
Oh,
married?
thank you. Yeah, I'm married to a Japanese woman, and we have three
Okay,
half Japanese
don't
kids.
care. You're married. So you need to be talking with people around you about the benefits of marriage. And if y'all don't have an institution, y'all need to start building it. Right?
Yeah,
Right now,
I
right
moved into a
now,
place on purpose
right
because
now,
everybody around here is married and they all have
hold up.
kids.
Listen to me.
Um,
Right
so
now,
yeah.
the leading thought leaders in the relationship space on the right are people like Andrew Tate. Y'all have let people like Andrew Tate come in and run your space. Like, this is what we mean about picking your mountain and
Well,
choosing a
that's
mountain and being like, give me that mountain. If you want to focus or understand that marriage is the battlefield that is going to destroy America because these 40-year-old white women that don't have husbands are going to be the bane of our existence, then your mountain can be restoring what a healthy marriage looks like and a fun marriage, a beneficial marriage for both husband and wife, and where it's not these crazy people like Pearly things that are leading and shaping the fucking conversation. Y'all
can I
have a
can I butt in real quick? I just have
wide
something.
open battlefield on that terms, and somebody on the right with some sanity need to jump in and say, give me that mountain.
Okay, two quick things. So the 40-plus-year-old liberal, miserable white woman with no children, and that's the source of most of her misery. That unfortunately is that's a bridge too far. It's a ship that's already passed. That's something that we're going to have to just deal with, and it's only going to get a little bit worse before it gets
Yo,
better.
I'm going to
I don't
interject
So
think
hold
here.
on,
you
Wait a
hold on.
minute. What are we talking
understand.
I
about?
want to.
I don't think you understand.
No, I want to make my second
I
point
don't think
about
no, no,
Andrew
no. I
Tate.
don't think you understand. I don't think you understand. That woman is the teacher. That
That's what I'm
woman,
saying. That's
that woman. So
it's going to
no,
be
no, no,
20
no, no.
years
I don't
in the
understand.
future
No, no, no. I don't understand how you can say we're gonna get him 20 more years, and we gonna like no,
because
no,
Sonny, they're
no.
not getting babies anymore. They're over 40. I'm sorry. It doesn't
Yo,
work out that way.
I don't
they
think no.
don't need babies. They got y'all babies. They
No,
got
they
y'all
don't
babies.
because I'm already married to somebody and I have my own children and my wife is already over 40 and they're not getting my babies.
He's
They're
not
not.
getting
She
what you're
means that
saying.
David. She means that they're the school teachers. They're the people who are teaching. Look, if you can homeschool, that's wonderful. But the
No, no, no,
fact
no,
is
no,
that
no, no.
these
I understand. I'm agreeing with all of you. Okay.
right.
So what I'm saying is this is why I'm saying it's going to take time because you're right.
No,
They
no,
are
wait,
the school
Hamza.
teachers and it's
But
going to take 20 years to get them out of the
no.
system.
We're not talking. We're not talking about getting them
Yo,
out of the system. Look. For example, I give an example of what. Well, like when Sonny said it right away, I jumped to the concrete idea. Okay, what's one of the big things that makes new marriages fail? Well, one of the things is that it's just the husband and the wife and the kids. That's not the normal the normal tradition is to have masculine society and feminine society. So there's an escape valve for all the stresses in the marriage. So here's what conservatives could do today, never
You
mind
nailed
20
it.
years from now. They could say, listen, we're going to have actual in real life communities, men's craft, where the only requirement is that you be married. And if you're married and you're a man, you can come and hang out with the other men and we can wrench on cars, and we can talk politics, and we can complain about our wives or what have you. But we're going to provide actual grassroots resources for men in marriages. And conservative women can do the same thing today, not 20 years from now. Because what's important is that young people don't see that the only conservative narrative about marriage is this vending machine transactional type of thing that the Andrew Tates of the world are pushing.
And that's
And
that
by the
was
way,
the crux of my
Christians.
second point. My second
Okay.
point was that so for the older generation, there's something that we're going to have to work through that's going to take the next 20 years. For the younger generation, I agree. It's unfortunate, and I'm not sure exactly how many people really look up to Andrew Tate, but if they do, you know what? They're young and they're stupid. Our brains don't get developed until they're 25 years old. And
David,
if
wait a
somebody's
minute.
looking at Andrew Tate, then
David, wait a minute.
hopefully
It's not just
we can
David.
only hope and pray that this person will
No,
grow
no,
up,
no, no, no,
because
no,
when I
no.
was 25 years old, I'm 39 today, I was a completely different person. And so,
Listen to me.
yeah,
Listen to me, brother.
yeah,
It's
I'm listening.
not just Andrew Tate. What are you listen? We are allowing, we agree that the left has captured the commanding heights of culture and media and so on and so forth.
Oh yeah, I
That's
think
what
it's
that
Takeshi 69 too. I mean,
Okay,
fuck
well,
that
no,
shit, man.
never mind Takeshi and his snitch ass. I'm talking about the general sour attitude toward marriage and the general transactional attitude toward relationships. We don't have a culture in which young men are socialized on how to be gentlemen by other men in a cross-generational way. Now, we could talk about why that doesn't exist now, but what I'm saying to you today is that today, never mind 20 years from now, today we can start building local
Okay, so
institutions
It's called team
that start to
sports.
address
It's
that.
called team
hold on,
sports.
stop. You know that video that was going around that was viral of all the men in the suits? Right? That's what that group does. It's basically we get together, we talk to each other, we see what each other needs. If somebody is in trouble, we try to talk through it. We give them advice. We help we help the brothers within our groups get jobs, and it just feel good for us to all come in suits when we fellowship. So y'all know it's that video of all the black men in all in different suits, and you see how much hatred and pushback they got just because that was their way of creating male fellowship, a
Why
brotherhood
would you hate
amongst
on that?
themselves, right?
Who did they get the hatred from? Who did they get the hatred from?
the our black progressive women,
Oh
right? So
Christ.
I was talking about your white progressive women earlier. We also have our black progressive women who don't see black men as being anything but bullet bags and so forth and so on. You know what I'm saying? They are the ones who pushing like the divestment of black love and all of that crap. They're not very, very fond of black men. So we have that group within ours as well. So we understand that it's necessary to fight back against that. And that is what you have with this group that is kind of fighting back against a lot of the stereotypes that are being put out against them. But they're also being a source of fellowship and brotherhood amongst the brothers that are trying to do the right thing. Right. So again, that is an example of that happening in our community, black community right now. And I'm just saying, I know they have like men of order with the hotaps, and they have their brothership where they're building it. You know what I'm saying? Like, having that kind of spot where we're like, okay, we understand the position you're in with the economy being the way that it is, with just the situation sometimes being out of your control, things not working out. Here are ways you can manage that. Here are ways you can set yourself up for the future. Here are ways you can get yourself healthy. These are ways for you to get yourself mentally stable, and just being able to have that conversation and have men who are married, who understand, who have an actual devotion to their wives, and not undercover doing some other dirty shit, but real men of character, and have them feeding the other men. You know what I'm saying? That's fly shit. And that is something, again, you do not have on the right. Y'all talk about the war on men, and I Lord forbid, I don't even know if I want y'all to have that shit. Cause I can imagine y'all putting like Matt Walsh at the front of that shit and it being a total fucking disaster, Like, but having someone that you would actually look at as a high quality individual who doesn't spend their life trying to ostracize as many fucking people as possible while keeping their bubble intact, but is actually looking out for the benefit of all men, that would be an excellent movement to see starting to sprout on the right. And you always see these women groups on the right, and you don't have a man's group on the right. You know, and you're looking at things like Boy Scouts being totally destroyed. So now you have a whole generation of your little white kids that's not going camping, that's not going hunting, that's, you know what I'm saying, that's not doing the
Wait a minute.
traditional
Can I
things
interrupt
normal
you?
white
There's a
people
reason.
do.
There's a reason we don't have it on the right. For people who are mostly white, but also black as well. I'm not too familiar with the black community, so I just moved back here from being in Asia for 16 years. But you know, if we if men stick their necks out too much, then you know, we're going to be told that we're not too women inclusive, or we're not you
So
know, we're being
what?
too
Get
masculine or whatever.
uppity. Okay, they beat y'all into submission for 30 years. I got it. Good. I understand. I'm not gonna
These are the
fight.
40-year-old white
I'm not gonna fight
childless
with you.
women.
My point now is you have seen the results of y'all being quiet for 30 years. Y'all think it's time for y'all to speak up? Like Hotep said, time for y'all to grab y'all horse and y'all muskets and remember who the fuck y'all are. They didn't beat y'all down for 20 years. And maybe it's time for y'all to stand up. And maybe this time, instead of y'all separating yourselves from the black men that are already standing up, you might find natural allies in black men that
That's what I'm
want
doing
the
right
same
now.
fucking thing.
That's what I'm
So,
doing right now. Right
but
now. I
so this whole
appreciate it.
thing is, I don't need no man telling me what if I stick my neck out, because I'm start looking at you like a bitch. I'm telling you, stick your fucking neck out. Jump on your horse, get your musket, and remember who the fuck you are. Like, what the fuck? And at the same time, you have an entire generation of black men that ain't gonna let that old shit that used to fly in terms of what you was passing off and thinking that we wasn't just as fit and intellectually able and as male dominant as, you know, that shit worked back in the day. This ain't back in the day. So you gonna have to be looking at these black men like your brothers, not your subordinates. So that's gonna be an entirely different situation for white men. But y'all gonna have to decide what is more important to y'all, being these white progressive women or some long hatred that didn't belong to you towards black men. That's gonna have to be white men's decision. And only white men are gonna be able to make that decision. So we can keep telling y'all, but if y'all not listening or y'all don't decide that fellowship with your black American brothers is the way to go, then y'all gonna lose to your white progressive women. And that's
Correct.
just the way that it is.
Correct. And I don't want to hear anything about what if they try to paint us as whatever. Listen, this is a war, okay? So in a war, here's how it goes. The enemy shoots at you, okay? That's their job, is to try to hit you. So, let's not fight, because what if the enemy shoots at us is not an appropriate doctrine for warfare. It just isn't. Right. So, yeah, I agree with you in that there's certain people. I agree with David. There's certain people who are not reachable right now. I'm not talking about trying to reach the unreachables. We have an entire generation of young people who are teenagers, who are approaching adulthood, and who need to see something else. And there needs to be something else other than transactional relationships, something else other than hookup culture, something other than Andrew Tate, so on and so forth. And again,
And,
this is things that
and
conservatives
it
can
would
do
be
today.
nice if in that you could tell them that opioids is a really bad thing, and maybe they should stay the fuck away from fentanyl, because
Yep.
it's not just what white progressive women are doing, because it wasn't just what they was doing to us. It was also the added drug element when they flooded our communities. They flooded ours with crack. They're flooding yours with fentanyl. So it's not even it is a concerted effort. And again, white men have seen what has happened while you let your white progressive women silence you and shame you and quiet you. Like, y'all need to make a decision that the time for that is over. And instead of focusing on black people, put your ire where it actually fits, and that's on your white progressive kindred that's sitting over there on the left. Go ahead, Tim.
White on white crime.
Definitely.
Hey, absolutely. Hey, black and white, everyone has their issues, no problem, but we're all Americans. But this is ironic to me. As a white man, I agree with you. It is this, we've all gotten, reeled into this whole making these adjustments to accommodate women and the role of women and all of this. Hey, it's God's natural order, okay? Man, woman, child, family. And men and women have complementary roles to raise a child. And the man stands at the front door and protects the household, and the woman is inside providing empathy and care for the children. That's as simple as it gets. I hate hearing you all have these white women. I'm telling you, who's raising the next generation of men? Who's raising the next generation of black men? It's a bunch of progressive black women, single, who are raising the next generation. And it's showing. I agree. Both races have men who still believe in the value and the God's order of what a man's role is. But society from all colors and all communities, are hammering us.
Wait.
Let's not make this us and them.
See, don't play with me. I would contend the black marriage rates are trending up. The white marriage rates are trending down. So it's almost like black people got hit with it first, and we have lived through the experience of it, and we, that generation that lived through it, have chosen to do better, to change our situation, right? So as a black woman that's been with my husband for 23 years and we raised our child together, I am going to always point out those of us who went through that system and broke it because we realized how toxic it was and how detrimental it was to our community and our society. And again, we are sitting here telling you that the same shit they did to us, they are currently doing to you. And you want to come in instead of saying, damn, I'm looking at it happen in real time. You want to start talking to me about where the hypocrisy lies. Like, I'm not looking at where the hypocrisy lies. I'm telling you our history and how this shit has already happened to us. We've experienced it. We've saw the results, and we're on the other side of coming out of it, having learned that lesson the hard way. And y'all are walking right into it for the first dose. And we are trying to tell you, hey, this shit, you need to stop it right now. You need to halt this right now. You need to understand why they are letting these drugs flood into your community right now. You need to understand why they are shutting down industries in your communities right now. You need to understand why in a lot of these areas, the biggest employer is the public sector union. And what that means for a fucking society. When like the biggest employer of your area is the public school system. Like we are trying to warn you about how they decimate you, how they economically cripple you, how they take away any chance for you to have any equity whatsoever in building your own community. And we're fucking telling you this to say you need to get up and start fighting this shit now. And you come in and tell me about the hypocrisy of it all.
I don't need you to tell me anything. I live the same life you live, okay? We all live this fucked up American life that is being decimated by the left and the Democrats. And everybody who votes that way, I'm sorry, we don't vote that way and you don't vote that way. But plenty of our communities do. So it's not about you versus me.
Yo, Republicans have spent just as much money as Democrats. Republicans have gotten us into affairs overseas that we had no fucking business in, that cost us so much money, so much treasure, and we had to leave with our tails tucked between our legs. As much as our debt and deficit could be looked at by Democrats spending, Republicans were right there every single time voting in bipartisanship to raise the debt limit.
So guess what we've been telling you? Uniparty. Quit making it left and right. It's the
Okay, so
politicians.
you coming
But
in,
yeah,
you coming
exactly.
in
No, you're sitting here
again.
wanting to divide us
No,
below that. Hey, we need to unite against.
I said the whole time we were in here, we were talking about government. What government has done. We didn't pick a party. We talked about the
You're
whole
talking
fucking.
about what white women have done to us. Give me a break.
Mother,
Black
may
women have
I?
decimated your men too. I mean, give me
Can
a
I?
break.
Can I?
It's
Can
this
I?
liberal stuff. And it's this progressive
Real,
liberal.
You
real,
see what I'm
chill for a second.
saying? No,
Real.
no, 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 no. I muted him again.
May
If
I?
he unmutes it, if he unmutes himself, I'll drop him down.
Honey, it's
Again,
Coach. May I?
again. Hold up, 1 second. Again, looking at the war that has been lost against feminism. Again, we have said that needs to be acknowledged that the war was fought and that conservatives lost. And they lost bad. And at the same time, we could talk about how a lot of the efforts towards affirmative action that were supposed to be targeted at Black people were actually empowering these white progressive women to take these spots. So acknowledging all of that in a realistic way that, again, we can attach culture to it as well. From if it was free love in the 60s, it was burning your bras in the 70s, it was single mothers are cool in your 80s. This whole thing that has been set up for decades using Gloria Steinem as a CIA agent to implement it all, another white woman, ignoring the simple fact of what we see with our own eyes, what has happened since those people have risen to power on the left, and how fast they have been able to spread this entire ideology. If that is not something you are even trying to address or understand within your own fucking ranks, then you are a fucking idiot. And if you think that this is somehow racially espoused instead of looking at the picture very clear about what is happening, again, you have lost your fucking mind. So you can keep on thinking that the fight is coming from a different place than right across your white progressive alley. And that's why they continue to beat your ass in every single arena and you conserve nothing. So, yeah, I do think it's a very important conversation that needs to go with. I'm sorry, Coach. You could go.
Hey, everybody.
I can't.
Thank you.
Hold up. Hold up. Oh, Coach, did you have something, sis?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Um, okay, guys, what's up? Just got out the hospital. I've been in there for months. I had a stroke, couldn't talk. What's up? Got all my speech back. I ain't worried about it. This is wild. I think I stepped in right, like probably at the wrong spot. But this destruction of the family unit is what's going on. This is the destruction of the family unit. This is a division. A lot of you guys don't know me. Let me introduce myself. My name is Joyce. I'm a quantum physics engineer. I hate it, so I got into business instead because I love marketing, I love advertising, I love real estate, and I had a small business when this pandemic started. It was doing great. I've been in business 9 years now, but when the pandemic started, that was their goal. Okay, they wanted to shut down the small businesses, whether they were white owned, black owned, it didn't matter. That was their way to shut you down, to make way for the bigger conglomerates. But the thing is, we all started to realize only the strong will survive. And all my friends would ask me, when they put that mess out, you guys all remember, they was like, oh, we'll give business loans to African American women, business owners, et cetera, et cetera. Why didn't you take that? And I was like, because I refuse to be anybody's token. Okay. If my business succeeds or if my business fails, it's going to do it on my own merit. You're not going to sit there and offer loans to one race over another, to one sex over another. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And I just did not want to be up under their thumb because they have kept and suppressed us under that long enough, long enough. And it has to stop. And everybody that, the fight is so big that everybody's forgetting. We have to do this one state at a time, one governor at a time, one mayor at a time. Because if we just sit here and continue just going at each other, we're never going to get anywhere. We're never going to get anywhere. Because this is what they want. We're giving them what they want. And I'm tired of giving them shit. They've taken damn near everything from me. I'm a 21-year lupus warrior. I've been sick most of my damn life. And I've had heart surgeries. I've had the strokes. I've had bacterial meningitis. They have taken or tried to take damn near everything. All they do is take, and take. And I am tired. But I'm still fighting. My 14-year-old granddaughter got fucking turned down for braces the other day. Guys, come on. You can come across that damn border and get whatever the fuck you want. But my granddaughter got turned down for braces because they didn't feel, if her dentist felt she needed them, she needed them. But when they send the paperwork into the insurance, oh no, we didn't feel she needed them. She get turned down, but you cross that damn border, we will give you $2,200. We will give you someplace to live. We will give you food. We will give you medical care. But if you've lived here all your life, we're going to give you shit. That's what we're going to give you. And then we're going to turn around and we're going to take your tax money and we're going to give it to them. So when are we going to come together and realize they work for us? We don't work for them. They work for us. So we're going to either have to come together and take that stand and make them do their goddamn jobs.
I am not mad at that, sis. I say a special prayer over you. I know all the time I deal with the sickness and the understanding of how, continuously you're trying to move forward and you're trying to build and you're trying to grow. And on top of that, you're dealing with your health. And then when you get everything in place, it feels like all of society is spinning on its head, going against you and pushing back. So again, know that you felt and know that you're not alone. And there's a whole bunch of Americans that feel the exact same way. And that's one of the things we talk about when we're talking about like conservatism equally applied, and this understanding that these things are the things that are most inherent and intrinsic across a large scope of us. You know what I'm saying? It's just they're not being addressed. This whole concept of us being a republic and being able to look at our local government and having them to actually do the shit that they're supposed to do. And when they don't do the shit that they're supposed to do, then we start looking at the state government and they're not doing it. And then you're looking at the federal government and they're not doing it. But in every single step, you also starting to see the local government growing and getting stronger and building on top of itself. The state government doing the same, the federal government doing the same. And the ones that never, ever, ever, ever get the opportunity to grow is just the American citizen who just wants what the American dream is supposed to promise them. And I think that is a large segment of us. And again, we don't get to talk about those things because we are constantly distracted, or we are constantly don't want to look at reality clearly because we somehow jump in our own feelings and think, oh, you must be talking about me, and start crying and bitching like little women. Like there is a place for us when we get to these higher level of conversations where we are able to address what we are all looking at in our daily realities and realizing that these decisions that are being made by the people at the top, they are designed to destroy us. And again, we have to decide amongst ourselves that it will not stand. We will not allow it. And actually start to activate and actually start to fight back and push back. And that's going to be, and I said it again, it's not enough just to get it at the federal level, because even if you get Donald Trump in office and he's like, okay, we're going to deport everybody. If you have mayors in these blue cities saying we're going to protect them, we're going to defend them, we're not going to push them out. Hey, yeah, and we're probably going to get them access to the ballot so the black people couldn't even vote them out if they tried. Like, we have been put into a spot, and understanding that only a full takeover of these areas is going to be able to, first and foremost, help Black America, because that is my main concern, and I don't care if you don't like it, but also with the healing and with the growth and with the nourishment and flourishing of Black America, you are able to take back some of these urban areas and actually begin to put real policy in place that looks out for the citizens that have been here for generation after generation after generation. And that has to be something that we are looking at as a priority. And I'm sorry, but you're not going to get that from the Democratic Party. They're not going to want to send those people home. They're going to want them to stay, and they're going to want to give them access to the ballot. And I'm telling Black America, the minute that they do it at the local level, it'll be the end of any power that you have in any district, in any place, anywhere across America. So the time to act and to actually activate and start to move is now, while you still have any kind of power attached to your vote. All right,
I'm in
Sarah.
Colorado, Sonny. I'm in Colorado, and I do been writing. I can't tell you how many things I wrote to Governor Jared. Oh God, just saying his name makes me want to puke. To Governor Jared Polis, I and I've written so much, and I will never get a response. But I'm going to keep writing, and I'm going to keep posting my videos to him, and I'm going to keep tagging his ass in them. I am not stopping. He can pretend like he doesn't hear me. He can pretend like he doesn't see me, but I know he does. I know he does, because I got videos on Instagram all over the place with that man tagged in them, and I'm going to keep on tagging his ass. I'm going to tag his ass until he has the guts to respond, till he has the guts, the balls to say something back.
And you have to. And
Phone call, Sonny?
You there,
Yes.
Sonny? You cut out.
oh, my bad.
Yeah.
I thought I said, just to make sure, we are sending so much love to you, so much grace over your healing, and so much just God flow power through you, as you continue to do what you need to do, that your health keeps up. In Jesus' name, I'm gonna pray that over you. All right, Sarah.
Hey, y'all. I'm calling in from Texas. So thanks for letting me ask a question. In Texas, what I think a lot of the people don't understand here, as a former Republican and now trying to get something else started, because I really think that there's this duopoly, and the Republicans and the Democrats, neither one are interested in actually governing anymore. Politicians are solely concerned about making sure that they don't have a primary challenger. And so I would just, I guess I have a comment and then a question. My comment is, people that are in the spaces like this, I encourage you guys just to get involved and to run for office. There's lots of uncontested races, and it just takes rational, normal people actually getting into office to be able to start actually making a difference, is my comment. And then my question is, what do you ladies suggest for helping messaging on X and other social media, because I think language is so important. So how can we help? What's some of your language techniques? How do you like communicating in a way that you reach a bigger audience, is my question.
I'll go ahead and answer to begin. So, one of the things I do with my clients who are working on messaging and getting their ideas and vision out to a bigger audience is you have to clarify your message, and you need to know exactly what you want to project to the masses. So this starts by you asking these particular questions, being very keen on who your target audience is, because as I share with them, not everyone is going to resonate with that message, and it's perfectly fine. You are supposed to repel some folks, and you're supposed to attract some folks with that same exact message. So once you identify what that message is, then you start to create content around or centered around that message that solves a specific pain point for that particular audience. So if, for example, you are looking to attract more people who are tired and agitated by the duopoly, then your job is to come up with some kind of clear message that can go out into the ether, whichever platform you choose to use. And then you need to expand upon those ideas. So this goes beyond just having the talking points. This, problems that. Oh, look at the duopoly. Oh, look how much the Republicans say. Yeah, we get that. And what happens? This, problems that. Oh, look at the duopoly. Oh, look how much the Republicans say. Yeah, we get that. And what happens? Particular problem. So I'll give my example. When I launched my political platform in 2016. I did it by happenstance, and it, well, not really happenstance, but kind of being pushed in. But I wanted to address the problem I saw on the right as it related to Black outreach, messaging, and really dealing with the evangelical space, because that's where my background comes from, and looking at how religion, faith, and all that stuff plays a big part. So if you follow my content, if you follow Twitter class, you'll understand and you'll see that I'm constantly talking about spiritual laws, kingdom principles. I know for a fact that I'm going to repel certain people with my message, but my target audience is specifically with individuals on the right who align with this faith and are missing the mark entirely. And so with that being said, it's not enough for me to just bash them on the head with, you're doing this wrong and Jesus wouldn't do this at all and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, let's do things a better way. So let's learn about these spiritual laws. Let's learn about the law of love, the law of grace, the law of reconciliation. And as I'm teaching these various things, I'm now telling them, now apply this to politics, apply this in terms of how you are talking to or about your fellow Americans who have already gone through what you are now having a conniption over. So my point is that once you identify that very clear message, you see the antagonism, you see the pain points, you also have to be the one to present that solution. And this is where people will start to be heavily attracted to you and to your work. And then you kind of go from there. And then I'll end it with this. One thing that I stress to my clients and leaders is the need to package your idea in book format. Because once people are able to hear what you have to say, you're going to get tired of repeating it over and over and over again. But if you can say, like, here's my book, you can get a free book here, or you get what I'm saying? They have to be able to go to a specific platform where they can digest the written word and get it embedded upon their hearts and minds. So that's how you go about taking your ideas and your message and pushing it out into the ether.
Now, you might want to listen to Coach, because what I'm going to tell you is something completely different. I'm going to tell you, first and foremost, know what you stand for. You have to know what you stand for. If your whole objective is getting people to follow you with no concrete belief or understanding in what you actually stand for, then you're gonna be shown false. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You're gonna
No,
be
I have a
shown.
problem with being too abrasive, and so
No,
I really.
see, this is again why I said is I'm probably going to diverge where Coach would go. Is that idea that when you have a strong, dominant, and passionate stance, and you refuse to move from it, and the people tell you to tone it down or to mute yourself a little bit or to not be so loud. This is from me coming from personal experience. You have to let that shit go, right? If you are praying over it and you are asking God, give me wisdom and discernment. Make sure that my words are of you. Make sure that I'm in your stance and in your grace. And after you pray that, if you get on Twitter and everything in you is like, oh, rip this shit apart, then you rip it apart because he's telling you what to do. And you act like you're like, okay, God can't be telling me that I need to go into attack mode. Excuse me, he is telling you to go into attack mode. Like, go listen to what he is saying to you. You have already prayed for wisdom and discernment. He's already got you and realized you and worked you into your spot. He made sure the first thing you saw when you opened Twitter was going to be that one tweet that was going to set your ass off into this complete tirade. He went ahead. He worked it all in your favor. It's already been laid out. He knows you well. He knows what you're going to do. At what point do you trust him and do it? Right? Like, at what point? And this is how I do what I do, right? If I am in that spot and I have prayed about it and I have turned it over, and then somebody and God puts ignorance in front of me, he knows what I am going to do. And he chose to put it in front of me. So evidently, I was meant to handle this ignorance in this day, in this time, for somebody who was listening to hear it and for it to give somebody who was listening some kind of clarity. It was meant to happen. So if you are a prayed up person, right? If you are a person that's dipped in grace and you understand and God knows you well because you talk to him, you bring it all to him, and then he sees you and sets you on a mission, why are you doubting what your mission is? This is the thing I don't understand. I am like, yo, you're not going to tell me God didn't want me to cuss you out because he knew what I was going to do. He knew what I was going to do, and he put you right in front of me. So it must have been that I was meant to go after you. And I've had people that I personally wanted to cuss out. And God was like, no, you will get this person grace. And you're just not going to say anything. And you're just going to remain silent. You're just going to hold your tongue. And in those moments where my fucking soul is bubbling over because I want to attack a person, I want to go after them, I want to destroy them, and God tells me to hold my tongue, I know in the moments when he doesn't tell me to hold my tongue that I'm supposed to unleash it. I know he knows how to make both of his commands very, very clear to me. So if he ain't telling me to hold my tongue, then whoever he put in front of me, I'm meant to do what I'm supposed to do to that person. If he tells me to hold my tongue, it is not always happy. It is not always easy. It does not always feel good, but I hold my tongue. So
I'm going to chime in here, and I'm going to. My answer is a combination of both of them. I mean, figure out what your purpose is. What is your life purpose? I'm a Christian, so I'm going to take this from a spiritual perspective, and if my purpose is to heal people with laughter, to heal people with words of wisdom, or heal people with a slap in the face of truth, then that to me is my purpose. And as both Sunny and Felicia have said, using those principles that you have, and your overall message and the purpose of what you want to use social media for, or your interactions with people in general for, have a plan. I mean, you can't just, if you just getting on there and you just want to tweet your opinion and just want to hear, people to hear what you have to say, you can do that too. But, if your goal is to share a consistent message, if you are trying to, Sarah, like if you're trying to reach a specific audience, then, you also have to, put in the work too, to understand who the audience is that you want to reach. And again, I can't emphasize solutions. You have to have some solutions. I mean, you can have fun. I mean, I clown on Twitter a lot and make fun of things. But if you really have something that is that you feel is strongly your purpose, or something that is on your heart that you have to get out, have a solution, offer a solution, or be willing to listen and debate people who you would normally oppose. Follow multiple people, figure out what they're thinking, follow your enemy, because you need to know how they think too, and strategize. And then if your specific message is wanting to engage with Black people who are conservative and interested in politics, then come to this space. We're here in the Thunderdome every Monday.
I would say like this: if you start losing passion, if you stop getting that fire in your belly, if that feeling of expedience leaves you, then it's probably because you're not following what God wants you to do, right? Because this stuff is not always fun. It's not always the easiest thing to do or the best thing to do, right? So if you're not listening, and you're like, I'm going to do this because I think this will get me more followers. I'm going to do this because I think more people are going to tune in. And you start losing that passion. You stop feeling it as something that you must do, a fight that you must engage in, because you've taken God out of it. What he told you to do, you thought by modern terms was the wrong answer. It couldn't be, because I know better. I know I'm supposed to. No, you're supposed to do what he told you to do. So if he told you that this was what you needed to focus on, but you blew it off because the other thing would make you more popular, that's when you start losing passion. That's when you start losing drive. That's when you start losing commitment. That's when them doors stop opening. Right? Because on the path that you got set on, it was a door that you were supposed to walk through, but you went the other way. So you can't walk. Your door was right there, but you went the other way because you refused to do what you were told to do. And you're going to miss those open doors, and you're going to be wasting time because you are not doing what God told you to do. And if you're going to sacrifice all of that, your mission, what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it, if you're going to sacrifice all of that to be popular, that God's going to take that door and he's going to put it in front of somebody else. Right? And you're going to be looking at that person like, God, if I had just stuck with if you had just stuck with your mountain. So it is, again, pick your mountain. What is your mountain? And once you say, give me that mountain, listen, heed, obey, and walk through the doors that's going to get you to that mountain. And I want to be very inspirational in this sense, because I could give you another way to look at this, but I want to use it as inspiration for people to understand. Everybody is not going to understand your vision. And it's not meant for everybody. It's meant for you. It is meant for you to walk. It is meant for you to learn. It is meant for you to navigate. It is meant for you to fall on your ass and have to get back up again. And you have to learn those lessons. It is a specific path that he loved you so much. He created for you. So ain't no running to me to tell me, ask me about how your path goes. Bathe yourself in wisdom and discernment, and then walk out in grace and trust that what you have been led to do is your mission. And I think that's the point I have such an issue with, when you have so many Christians who don't even walk in that kind of faith. You walk in a fearful faith instead of that steadfast faith. You know what I'm saying? Like, that steadfast faith is what's going to get us to the end, right? Wishy-washy here and there, that's not going to get us to our ending point. That's steadfast understanding. We have been called, we have answered, and we follow. That's steadfast understanding. That's what's going to get you to the finish line. Not worrying about how many people like you, not worrying about how many people are hanging on to what you have to say. I say this now because 10 years ago, I used to tweet shit and get 0 refollows, 0 retweets. I tweet those same tweets today to show a record of how consistent I've been, and them shit start going viral. So it wasn't, I had the idea back then, but it wasn't time yet. Now, those same ideas, people are listening to. So nobody knew the vision, nobody had to understand the vision. But I had to walk it, but because I walked it, I can go back on almost any subject and retweet what I tweeted 10 years ago, and it'd be the same thing I'm saying today. So, again, I'm going to use it as inspiration. I'm going to give a little testimony because Coach Joyce came up here and she gave her testimony and it made me feel some type of way. So I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to push people towards being inspired and letting your passion lead and letting it guide. Like, God has turned you into a fighter, then be a fighter. He turned you into a warrior, then pick up your sword. Build with one hand, defend with the other. Like, these are things that are biblically true. So you don't have to sacrifice either or to obtain where you're trying to go. And we just have to remember that sometimes we're going to be building, but sometimes we're going to have our sword in our hand. And it's just a matter of what point we're in, which one we choose to use. And right now, if for white conservatives and Republicans, I would say you should keep your sword in your one hand, but you need to be building towards Black America and having a real, true kind of partnership that is going to push us forward and have something real and sustainable for the future. So, sorry, usually it's Coach to give you the sermons, but that's on some testimony. I don't mix that in with politics. I don't try to cross the two over. So that for me is just on complete inspiration, not anything remotely attached to politics. So,
Well, y'all are like answered prayer today, so thank you.
no problem at all. All right, let's let TM come in so we can go back to fighting instead of being being all girly and stuff. All right, what's up, TM?
Hey, sometimes trolling is necessary.
That's a great intro. First and foremost, Coach, God be with you and God be with yours. I've heard your story before, and I really, really deeply am inspired by you. And, God will give the grace you need. Sonny, I think me and you have been given the same memo from God. I want to fight, okay? But I don't want to fight amongst ourselves. I want to fight this government. And listening to you, I'm trying to think of a common bond that we can think about where we have to focus our efforts. And God is it, of course. The problem is we're pushing God, and not we, but the government and the society is pushing God out. And the more we lose it, the more evil's coming in. Here's what we need to do in our communities. Remember this. I heard it the other day, and it's so true. And it was a call to action for me in my community. And the number one thing in my community is my church. And I'm a Catholic. And the government, during COVID, the government did not close the churches down. The churches chose to close down. They subserted themselves to government, and that's unacceptable. And I think our issue is this government is getting way too strong, and I was so disappointed at the time, but now I'm even more disappointed is in my church. which to me is the pillar of the community. And we have to come out of service or even out of personal prayer and take the word out into the community. And we have to unite. This government, the only way we're going to win, and Sonny, I deeply appreciate your, I don't know how you put it, your priority lies with the Black community. Amen. Hallelujah. Whatever community you're in. But in order to improve that community, we need all of us on the same page to defeat what's above us. And it's this uniparty. When
Okay.
we
All right.
Yep.
No, I completely see. This is the point where we get to, right? We need all of us on the same page. What is the same page? Because we have been saying that to white conservatives and Republicans. We need y'all to be on the same page. And what we get in return is the same page is basically we accept the history that y'all accept. We accept the traditions that y'all accept, right? We accept the heritage that y'all accept. When we're like, that's not us being on the same page. See, we have our own heritage, right? We have our own traditions. We have our own history. Now, it shouldn't be separate. It should be a part of the American history, but it has been separated. So we can't get on the same page until we have these discussions about the things that have kept us estranged for so long. So I know when we have American traditions like Juneteenth that are Black centric traditions, you can't say, no, you can't have that. Excuse me? This is something that is intrinsic in our heritage, right? This is something we've been doing for the longest time. When it comes to lift every voice and sing, you can't say, oh, no, you can't have that. And again, I can even agree with you that I understand what the left does and how the left uses it. We don't do that. But that doesn't make it any less a part of who we are. So we would have a different way we would defend it. We would have a different way we would stand up for it. But it's non-negotiable about it being taken away. So when it comes to us being on the same page, that's where the question lies about exactly what page is it? Is it a page where we can't talk about Black history because it's victimhood? Or is it a page where we can't talk about Black faith because we are all made by God? You know what I'm saying? Like, if everything on your page excludes us, then it's going to have a hard time getting us on your page.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. That's not on my page, all those things that you mentioned. My page starts and begins with God and the Bible. That is the first page. Number two is our founding documents, which the number one thing in there is the term a more perfect union. We always are striving to have a more perfect union. And yes, history has been ugly. It's been terrible, but we're striving to have a more perfect union. To me, we have a more perfect.
I just want to get to understanding with you, right? So you say our founding documents, right? I'm all aboard with keeping our founding documents, right? And making sure they are given the due diligence and standard bearing status that they deserve, right? I'm all for that. But within those founding documents, the separation or the inclusion of race is inherent, right? They were not in a denial about Black people being Black. They were not in denial about white people being white. In fact, they would use whiteness to bring groups in to the overall kind of white population. And again, this isn't about hating white people or white supremacy. This is fucking history that goes along with those founding documents, right? The inclusion of race into the fabric of American society is in those founding documents. So as we are trying to maintain those founding documents, must we not also maintain the standard and the acceptance of race classifications that are in those founding documents?
Absolutely. Anything in those founding documents are there. Nothing's been changed. Okay.
Exactly.
Just like the Bible. Okay.
America as a nation.
Okay.
America as a nation was formed as a nation that saw color clearly. And that's what we have to accept along with those founding documents. Because if you exclude that fact from those founding documents, then that's how history starts to get muddled. And that's where confusion comes in about the American story as a whole. Right?
Okay,
so if in the founding documents, race was included as a metric in the American system, as we deal with issues today, so must race be included as a metric in the American system.
Well, of course, it's a fabric, okay? And everything is part of this fabric. Just like, let's get back on the same page. Page 1 to me is the Bible. Page 2 are our founding documents. These two documents, the Bible above the founding our founding documents, those are the guide for us. Again, we have to take those documents as they are. The good, the bad, the ugly, the not sure about, especially in the Bible. There's some stuff that's, to this day, I still try and interpret some of it, and I can't wrap my mind. But anyways, there's some basic principles. We don't have to get into the weeds of those documents all the time, but the basic principles apply to everybody. And again, those Bill of Rights, those rights are for everybody. Those rights are for everybody. They weren't always for everybody.
See, that's the point. That's the point. With race being inserted as a metric, those rights did not apply to everyone. Now, they should apply to everyone. And that's why we have to work towards a more perfect union.
Correct.
But
do they apply today?
Over the span of America's history, they have not applied to everyone equally. Right? And what we are saying is we have seen what America looks like when those things are not applied equally, especially to American citizens, right? Specifically in this case, Black America, right? We have seen what it looks like when those rights are not applied to every American citizen. Right now, under this administration, white conservatives and Republicans are starting to see what it looks like when they are no longer covered by them. Right? And that is what we are saying, is that Black America has lived under this for 100+ years. Y'all have lived under it for about 3 or 4. Like, y'all have experienced nothing like what the Black community has experienced. You don't have the level of strife with this government that Black America has with this government. Right? And us acknowledging and understanding that a lot of the reasons you see what you see currently in Black America is because of this government. Again, not stating a party, it's the government as a whole. And it's not you as an individual, and it's not you white conservative, and it's not you no, it is government. Because your whiteness can do nothing to me. But if your whiteness has control over the federal government, now you have power to do something. Your individual whiteness is not a threat to me. I don't think you are racist. You are superior to me in no way, no shape, no form, no fashion. But when you have the power of the government system, the amount of damage that you are capable of doing to any group of people just because you can, just because you control, just because you dominate, That is what you are starting to see. And for decades, that has been what Black America is living under. So when I say I am specifically talking to Black America, there is nothing that I am saying that white America cannot equally use. Matter of fact, I spent the first half of my career going around to white America telling them the same thing that I am now specifically targeting to Black America. So there's nothing in what I am saying that won't help white America too. And y'all need better leaders when it comes to spreading this message. But I know that Black America has been denied access to capitalism, access to ownership, access to entrepreneurship, economic development, and total like domination. We have been cut off from those avenues. So when I specifically target Black America, it's because I know what government has done to us. And like I said, y'all are just walking into it. Instead of fighting with us and worried about us getting on your page, you might want to come and read our page. That's my point. Our page tells you what happens when the FBI targets all of your leaders. Our page tells you what happens when the FBI doesn't, not by any specific law, but just as a directive from the DOJ, tells you to focus on groups that are trying to build, grow, and create in your communities. Like, we got a whole book over here, pages that you can get on to show you what it's like when they flood your community with drugs. And they don't shut it aboard. They know it's coming in and they don't shut it down. They let it go. And then, they locked our people up. They're giving your people free needles. Like, what the fuck? Like, we have a whole page over here to tell you what it looks like when your government hates you and targets you and sets out to destroy you. So what I am saying is, maybe it's just time for y'all to come and get on our page, because our page is rewritten in blood. It's rewritten in pain. It is rewritten in consequence. It's rewritten in long-term effects. You know what I'm saying? Like, our page tells a whole lot. And we've read y'all pages. And we realize y'all pages is not successfully written in a way that assures victory. Because you can't even point out who your true enemy is, right? Our pages has the enemy seen clearly. Our pages knows what it looks like, right? So,
Sonny,
just saying, you might want to
Sonny,
come over and read from our page.
Hey,
when you said that about the needles, hold up a second,
and then
TM, just real quick, TM.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let me just say something about the needles.
Yeah.
Sonny, when you said that, I had to say this. It was killing me. With my lupus, I have to give myself B12 shots 3 times a week. I went to the pharmacist and they gave me the liquid, but they didn't give me the syringes. And I was like, well, how the hell am I supposed to give myself the shot? And she said, you need a prescription for the syringes. I said, and I am not kidding you. I stood in that line and just watched a crackhead buy a box of syringes without a prescription. Without a damn prescription.
Okay, you do not need a prescription to get syringes. I'm sorry. If you have an injectable medication
a piece.
Right. No, if you have an injectable medication, they should give it to you automatically. The only question they should be asking you is what size needle that you want.
25, right. But this man bought a box without a prescription.
Yeah,
But then I stepped up to the counter and they said,
it's time to change your pharmacy if you can.
I did already. But I'm just saying that when she said, because they out there, they're giving free syringes to heroin addicts. You can go into a Walgreens and buy a box. But when you're on medications that need injectable needles, you want to give people issues. That's the world. And that's why I end every conversation on my page with togetherness. Togetherness. And because I'm tired. Either we're going to do this together, or we're just going to have to stand alone. And I can't do it. We have to do this together. I'm tired.
All right, Cash.
A word? May I be heard?
Yeah, you can go ahead, babe.
How y'all doing? Yeah, thank you for allowing me the space to speak. First, I want to say that I'm Black American on both sides of my family, back for generations, and I consider myself an independent. Just for those who are trying to contextualize my thoughts. First, someone mentioned the Constitution. The Constitution has 27 amendments to it because we're constantly updating who we are as a people and what some of the issues with the Constitution were. In fact, some of those amendments undo other amendments in the case of prohibition. So it's not a perfect document, quote unquote. I do have it here in front of me, though. I keep a little pocket one on me at all times. And anyone who's read the Constitution should understand that the First Amendment says that we have a right for a redress of grievances to our government. So I believe anyone who is against reparations is actually un-American. Also in the Bible, it says in Proverbs 14:9 that fools mock at reparations, but among the upright there is favor. I pinned that on my Twitter as well, so you can see that for yourself. What I wanted to bring to the room is that in my conversations about Black American history and the reparations movement that's coming in modern day, there's been very interesting conversations about what's considered conservative and liberal and socialist, and I just wanted to drop off some notes. First, there's a conversation happening in Chicago where multiple aldermen, up to 10 aldermen who support lineage-based cash payment reparations, have come into controversy with the Democratic Party, who is making it about all poverties matter and seeking to change the conversation to universal basic income, which in my opinion would pillage the American government and give a golden ticket to people to leave their nations, which would undermine them, lead to brain drain, and have less of a need for foreign aid. I think universal basic income should come way after reparations, and I think it's more conservative to just pay Black Americans instead of paying all those who identify as Black. As I said again, including those who have just migrated to the nation. They should not be a part of our reparations claim. I believe it's conservative to fight for such. The only other thing I wanted to mention, other than a remittance tax, is that I believe that, and honestly, that many people argue that reparations includes debt forgiveness, which many have argued would raise GDP and lead to reinvestment. I was going to mention a bit about how in Germany, being a citizen, a portion of your tax dollars goes towards paying Holocaust survivors lifetime payments. And I would hope that America can prove itself to be better than former Nazis were. But my last point is just going to be this. I've heard it argued that we can get rid of the budgets for multiple social welfare programs to fund our reparations claim, and that would actually be a win-win strategy for Black America and for America in general, because these programs have proved to not be beneficial, to have a lot of fraud and misuse, and its biggest beneficiaries, 65% of those who migrate to the nation utilize social welfare programs, while only 32% of those who are native-born do. So I believe it's actually wasteful spending, and it's more conservative and more specific just to pay Black Americans who will reinvest in America, in our nation, and in its future, than those who, as I said before, just got here. So thank you guys for allowing me to spiel. Hopefully I wasn't off topic or incoherent.
No, you are in a perfect space for understanding what we're trying to do here. And that is when you have a mountain and your mountain is reparations, that you are always going after your mountain, right? You don't change topic, or you don't change course, or you don't change principle because of the subject of the day. Your mountain remains steady, and when your chance with a microphone comes, you go after your mountain. And literally, as a point, that is what we're trying to tell everybody, right? Everybody that is listening to this space, everybody that is under hearing this, is if you have that one thing that your heart is telling you, right, and you look at it and you can feel passionate and you can feel like ready and justified, look at it and say, give me the mountain, and go after it. Go full hearted and deep throated, 10 toes down after it. And it doesn't matter which position you pick on the battlefield that you choose to, charge forward on. You just make sure you are choosing something, and that something is backed up with some kind of real passion, some kind of real desire, some kind of real will and want to have something change, to be different, to be better. When you have a whole bunch of passionate people that are focused, you can accomplish some wonderful things. So, like, when you identify your mountain, when you know what it is, don't ever apologize for going full throated after it. So you become a perfect example of what we're trying to put out as principle first, even when your principle gets tested by distractions. All right, Carbon.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, Sarah, I DM'd you. So SOG. Look, I think part of the problem is that I know the well, let's say one problem I have, many times when I talk to my white conservative brethren, is that they're reaching in good conscience for the universal. And there's not a problem with reaching for the universal at all. But the only sure way to get to the universal is through particular. I think I think it was Lorraine Hansberry who made that quote, and I think she's right. Going back to the Bible, as you said, right? The first crime in the first book of Moses is a fratricide. Okay, division is baked into us. It's baked into the cake. It's who we are. So now we have to work to fix those divisions, but it's challenging work. Now, the problem I have very often is, I have to say, well, let's just forget about all that. You start talking about certain things in American history. So, well, let's forget about that. And let's all get on the same page. Well, no. It's like we have to talk about those things, and those things are particular to our tribes. So when I'm talking about black folks, we can talk about Black Wall Street. We can talk about redlining. We talk about these things. When I talk to my white brethren, if they're Scots-Irish, for example, we can talk about Andrew Carnegie. We can talk about Haymarket and Homestead. We can talk about the Pinkerton gun thugs. Okay? But those, we have to go after the particular so we can come around to the universal. It doesn't make any sense to just say, well, forget about all that and let's just. That won't do. Okay. It doesn't make any sense to say, well, we're all one, so we all need to just do X. Well, what we need to do, and given all the things that are wrong with our home, with our republic, what do we do first? What do we do second? Who does what have you? That's exactly what we need to fight about. And we need to argue about it. And it's okay that we argue about it. And it's okay that different tribes have different priorities. That's perfectly fine. People need to not get upset that someone says, you hear someone say, it sounds like they're attacking your tribe. And then you say, well, no, you have to defend. It's not necessary. And it's beside the point. We are trying to get to the universal. We're trying to get to a more perfect union. But in the course of doing that, we have to talk about all the ticket taking that got us to this point, right? Because my white brethren, for example, came from everywhere in the world except here. That goes for us. That goes for everyone here, too, really, except for the Native Americans, right? Came from everywhere in the world except here. But somehow when they got here, they all became one thing. That was a process of people being offered, successive tribes of people being offered the ticket. And the ticket is, oh no, you're no longer Irish, you're just white now. And now you get to be better than these people. I don't have to be accusing anyone alive right now of that to acknowledge that is a problem. That's a problem. Because it's always big money, big capital, big government that's offering the ticket. Now, if people have been taking the ticket for the past 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 years, okay, then some of those habits need to be worked through so we can get out of that. That's that ticket. I'm going to give back that ticket so I can go on to be effective in this other. We have to talk about that. right? So that's all I'll say. It's like, yes, I'm with you on the universality, but we have to focus on the pillar first. The Tower of Babel problem has been solved. It has been answered for us by that same religious document, and the answer is no shortcuts. That's the answer. They tried to build a tower with its top in the heavens, Babel, the gate of God, and God said, no, 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 no. He confounded their speech. You have to get there the old-fashioned way. So, by all means, let's reach for the universal, but it's always through the particular. The answer is no shortcuts. That's it.
If you want to fight against Tarver, you better jump in.
No, I think I agree with that, Mike. It's what I'm saying is, again, not to erase the past. I said it in the beginning. It's a more perfect union. We have to keep building and working at it. I gladly appreciate the discussions, debates, arguments. Passion and debate brings out, everything. We need it all on the table. I agree. But what I'm talking about is each election, okay, we need outcomes, because it's like, our history, in my time with elections, it's like one step forward, maybe two steps forward, then two or three back. It matters who goes into office to a point, but I'm getting more and more frustrated with just this political class. And that's where I'm talking in our communities. And someone mentioned earlier about running for office. We have to start taking our communities while also dealing with, the top-down issue. When it's time to vote, we have to come together. When it's time to talk and debate and solve these things, I am glad to do it. But at some point, we have to at least be a bulwark to not let it get so far out of control and keep working towards it. I guess that's kind of where I'm coming from. And I'm kind of older, so I was raised, through school with the, when it comes to race, I guess Martin Luther King was a, integral part of the history lessons that I was taught, content of character over, color of skin. All of that. We have tribes and other groups.
Hold on.
Can I jump in right quick?
No,
nobody jumped in on it. Okay, all right. I get it.
No. You been here. You listen to everybody on this stage speak, right? What is wrong with the content of character of anybody that's on the stage speaking?
Nothing at all.
Okay,
but that's what I like to judge people on first.
Hold up. Excuse me, hold up. So, as far as the content of character, everybody that's on the stage speaking, you have no objection to the content of character.
No, not at all. This is a good solid discussion. I appreciate it. I respect it.
We have met your burden of Martin Luther King Jr. Right? We have met your burden. But guess what? We still black. That whole content of character does not change the fact that we are black. Our content of character is fine. Right? We don't need to defend that. None of us are stark raving, crazy black Marxists that want to see America. Like, none of us are what you would look at as being character deficient. So we've already met your Martin Luther King Jr. attribute. We've already done that. But guess what? We're still black Americans. Right? That's the point we are saying. Is they gave y'all an education. But what they told you, judge on the content of character. Right? And not the color of their skin. And y'all believed it. Y'all bought it. Y'all walked in it. But in that, what y'all did was y'all detached yourself from black history. You detached yourself from black culture. You detached yourself from black communities. Because in not seeing color when color wasn't around you, you didn't notice it. And that doesn't mean we don't exist. That doesn't mean we are not building an American story outside of the record of what you know or what you're taught. And all I'm saying is, as we are having these conversations, for you to say, or that constant refrain to be in place that somehow is some neglect in our content and character. And I wanted to point this out, right? I wanted everybody here to realize this. I started this space with the opening of talking about Israel and Palestine, right? Every other conversation that has that as a starting point, where does that conversation go? Even with this being as the topic and opening conversation, you are amongst black people, black conservatives. Where does our thought go to? Even with distractions all around us. It's still the mountain that we chose, we claimed, and we said, give us that mountain. So the whole principle of this, again, was remaining and understanding what you stand for and not being distracted. And everybody in here, where I told you I was going to use this as an experiment, look at the results of this experiment. With all the bouncing balls currently happening right now, when you bring black intellectual thought leaders around and have us just talk amongst ourselves, our conversation is always going to go back to our mountain. You do not even understand the beauty and the outcome of this experiment. And imagine if conservatives follow this idea of not jumping from bouncing ball to bouncing ball to bouncing ball, but actually finding a mountain, targeting it, and making sure you're keeping your people's eye on the proper mountain. Now that is particularly what I am telling black Americans to do. And I would also say, again, the concept of conservatism equally applied. There is nothing that I am saying to black America that any white conservative person, any Muslim conservative person, any Haitian conservative person, any Hispanic, you know what I'm saying, conservative person, this same message can be taken, equally applied to every single group. And it would be effective and efficient in terms of creating a bigger base to be able to grow something. So again, but when the conversations start with the point where we have to meet that education that we're giving to y'all, because when it comes to Black history, there's not too many black conservatives in this room that the first person we want to start talking about in terms of Black history is Martin Luther King Jr. That is what they gave you. That is what they taught you. That is what they gave you for a reason. And we are telling you the reason was to disconnect you from us. You stopped seeing us. You stopped learning about us. We became unimportant in the sense of the role we played in the fabric of America. And yes, they taught it to you. But if you know that they taught it to you, and you see how corrupted they are, you see how they bastardize history, you see how they use to control the government, maybe you should not keep walking in the shit that they taught to you. Maybe you should wake up and realize maybe they taught me some bullshit. Maybe they didn't tell me the whole story. Maybe they didn't give me the right context. Maybe they was not not looking out for our best interests and how we move forward and how we create something real. I'll put it to you like this. At every push forward that we had in race relations, white people never did it willingly. Every step we took, white people as a whole had to be pushed into it. You had to be forced into it. You had to have protests. You had to have demonstrations. You had to have challenges to the Supreme Court. You never just said, hey, you know what? Let us do the right thing right now. Let us, you know what? I don't like the history that was given to us and the way it was given to us. So right now, what we are going to choose to do is we are going to choose to build relationships with black men, with black communities. We are going to choose to build relationships with Hispanic communities. Not just in the sense of having Hispanic ads or black people ads, but actually talking about concepts of conservatism, ownership, entrepreneurship, what it really means to have equity in your local government when it comes to them actually meeting the needs that your society has and wants to be addressed. Like there are tangible pages that we can get on that look alike. But when those things come at detachment from legacies that have been here from generations, no, they're not. We're not willing to sacrifice such things. And I am sorry, but you are in the presence of people that have chosen a mountain. Like we've chosen the spot we want to have our eye on, and we said, give it to us. So we're not going anywhere in terms of making sure our eyes stay properly on the right mountain. You can jump in. We can fight. Let's bring it.
Sonny, I just wanted to jump in. Hang on a second. TM, I just wanted to jump in right quick and say to you that, so for example, you mentioned Martin Luther King. Well, I mean, as a matter of fact, when he was alive, you know, white conservatives were calling him everything but a child of God. Now you've got all these crazy-ass Marxists running around advocating segregation, and now Republicans see fit to say, hey, you know, maybe Dr. King had a point or two. Okay, granted, wonderful. We're glad that insight has been reached. But I'll tell you what a problem I have personally is, and not with you. I'm not accusing you of anything. But I've been online. One of the things I've been doing since I've been online with the Foundation Society and so on since about 2018 is trying to tell conservatives how to win. And the answer I get 8 or 9 times out of 10 is it's no use talking to those people because they always vote Democrat. The answer I always get is, well, let the cities burn. Let them have those places. New York is a shithole. Chicago's a shithole. Again, not accusing you of anything. But I'm pointing out that, like, this space here is a very odd place for you or anyone else to come and say, let's all get on the same page. Because when I go to white conservative space, I say, listen, guys, this whole your outreach is poor. Come talk to us about conservative values. My neighbors in my street in Brooklyn, New York, are ready to hear a message about smaller government. They're ready to hear that. They say, oh, you're talking like a victim. They're on autopilot. They have no idea. They're out of ideas. They're the people who need to get on their own page. Never mind my page. They're not even on their page. Well, you know something? I can't want them to win more than they do. But you talk about electoral outcomes. Well, the fact is, yes, politics is important. It's not all important, but yes, we have to do local outreach. We have to create local institutions that create parallel economies, and we have to look for those electoral outcomes. Well, part of the problem is, in some of the places where you have the staunchest conservatives, i.e., working class Black Americans, Republicans have not seen fit to come and talk to them respectfully about the same conservative things that they talk to everyone else about. What page do they need to get on? Because again, the working class guys, the working class Black dudes I see when I go to Home Depot, when I go to Lowe's, when I go to the 24-hour plumbing supply place because I need parts, Those guys are conservatives. No one is talking to them. Yeah. So that's all I'm saying. It's like I'm not against you. I'm not what I'm just saying. We are climbing a mountain. Okay, so you climb your mountain too, and maybe there's people in your circles of mountains to climb. And guess what? When we've climbed our respective mountains, we can light signal fires and communicate and coordinate with each other now and say what's next. But it's not. But I'm not necessarily going to be like, well, yeah, I need to get on this. I know what page I'm on. I don't need someone to tell me what I need to do next. I need other conservatives maybe, to get interested in the conservative fights that I'm having here in New York City, in New York State. I need other people who are very chest out about certain issues, the Second Amendment, for example, to come and see what we're doing here and maybe get involved. And again, this space of all the spaces you could be in, this is not the space to say, well, no, we just need to all. No, that's a problem for the conservative movement as a whole, and it's why conservatives keep losing. So I'll land there, but that's all I have to say.
Okay, that was mic drop.
Okay,
That was
can I
mic drop. Okay, Carbon.
can I go now?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm running out of time here. Hey, okay, Mike. Yeah, I'm totally with you. No one's talking to them at the Home Depots or the plumbing supply store. I hope you are, because I am when I'm there at those places or at the gas pumps or at the supermarket, whatever. So yeah, I agree.
Bullshit.
Politicians, I don't expect politicians to go in and do that stuff. It's going to be up to us. I agree with you. The politicians are only going to talk to people, within arm's distance of the election. But I would like to thank you, Sonny, the other ladies, the co-hosts. I appreciate it. I got to get going. I just want to leave it with this, because I did appreciate when you did say white conservatives, black conservatives, Mexican conservatives, Asian conservatives, Muslim conservatives. Conservatives are the answer to what ails this country at this time, and we need to come together and fix it. I'll land it there. God bless you all. Thank you very much. I do appreciate you giving me the stage space and the mic for what you did, and I do love the passion. Thank you.
You're a good sport. Not many people come up and can stand 10 toes down with, everybody coming at them. But this is the point of what we want. We want people that can do that. We want to help you sharpen your skills. After you argue with us for a little bit, then you could take those arguments back to your circles, and you're going to have different responses, and you're going to have different ways you're looking at things. So just being able to step up, and this is why I call it the Thunderdome, is that we can fight. And we can have it. We can knuckle out. We can do all of that. We can get this shit out, and then we can come back tomorrow and do it again about a different subject. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you build something real. You don't build something real when you're running from arguments, or when you're running from conversations, or when you're trying to colorblind them instead of just being straight. Like, you're not going to have anything real. Nothing solid, nothing built in stone is going to be built in that format. The way you get to something real is when you're willing to have these conversations, be full-throated, stand 10 toes down, and make the argument. So you did very well in participating with us, so we appreciate you. All right, I guess we get ready to wrap out. So we're gonna let everybody have a closing out. Coach, what you got?
Such a great space today. Just enjoying listening to the different conversations, and always praying a blessing for everybody, and to the conservatives who do manage to, stick around. I hope you take these opportunities as a way to empower yourself, empower your local, first starting with your family, and then being bold enough to share this insight as you continue to grow in your own grace and power on this side. So I send a blessing to everyone, and I look forward to another space, the Thunderdome, next Monday.
All right, Coach. Sister Nikki.
Hey, well, it was the Thunderdome today. I appreciate it. I love it all. I'll be ready to come back Monday for another one. That's all I got. I'm uplifted. I'm inspired. There was a lot today that we
Yo,
could take from here.
I didn't cuss anybody out today.
I did.
I did. Look, this is a good day for me. This is a good day for me. You know what I'm saying? This put me in a nice spot. I'm in a good, happy place. I didn't have to cuss nobody out today. And after last week's Thunderdome, I was like, it feels like sometimes it just get pulled the worst in me out. And today is one of those examples where I feel like maybe the best in me came out. And I hope that everybody that tuned in, felt a little bit of the best of me. Because really my heart is with us all realizing that America is worth saving. And us all realizing that only when we are principled in that concept and that thought process, and we make sure that that is central to our conversations, that we are going to start to heal America. And then through that action, we can be an influence to the world. But while we are broken, while we are fractured, while we are divided, while we are fighting, while we don't even have a consensus on what we believe or why we believe it, do we still think the Republic holds, that we still think the Constitution matters? Like, we don't even have a consensus on that. So with that attitude and with that spirit, we can't be leaders in the world because we don't even know who or what we are anymore. And I want us to raise a generation that knows we can be strong, we can be economically viable, we can be economically dominant, we can have our energy, we can have our food supply, like we can have control of our borders, we can have control over our policy. Like, we as the American public, that is our duty, our job, our responsibility, not to be turned over to politicians, but for them to understand that they are in a subordinate position and we are their bosses.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, Nikki, what?
I wasn't hearing you very well. Maybe it was just me.
Oh, I'm sorry. But I just want us to all be walking in a pathway of understanding that America is worth fighting for. And as a focus, as a mountain that we've picked, I want Black America to know you are worth fighting for. So that's where you're going to find us every single time, making sure Black America knows that this is your country. Conservatism has always served us well, and we are going to bring it to you on a platter. So stay tuned. With that being said, I'm getting ready to go take care of my husband. Until we talk to each other again, be good to each other.
Don't forget to subscribe. Channel Raw TV, baby.